Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel if you've been here before, and welcome if you're new. I'm EDJ, and I'll be pretty brief. I'm watching, Epic History TV's Alexander the Great series. I'm deeply, like, into it right now. I just want to get straight into it and finish it, this and part 4, and then basically done. Maybe I'll do a reaction to the speech. So, yeah, what else can I say except Alexander's like a Chad, right? But we already knew that he's great. So yeah, if you want to watch the original video, the link is down in the description down below. Nothing but credit and praise to Epic History TV. This is the first time I've watched any of his series, so like I said, I've just so far I've been really enjoying it, and it's so informative. I just don't know what else I can add. He's covering it all pretty well, pretty great, if I may say so. So yeah, let's see. I think I might just finish. Yeah, part 4, then we're done. Yeah, I might finish it today.
334 BC, Alexander, 21-year-old ruler of the small Greek kingdom of Macedonia, led an invasion of the vast Persian Empire. It seemed impossible odds. But thanks to Greek military dominance and Alexander's fearless leadership, he won 2 great battles against the Persians, at the river Granicus and at Issus. Having subdued Persian lands west of the Euphrates River, he now headed east into the empire's heartlands, seeking a final showdown with the Persian king, Darius III. Receiving news that a great Persian army led by Darius had assembled at Gaugamela, near modern Mosul in Iraq, he made straight for it. This was Darius' last chance to stop Alexander, and Alexander's chance to smash Persian power once and for all.
Like I mentioned in the first video, like I'm quitting a lot of history forums and like Reddit discussions. I've retired from Reddit. I don't want to be on there anymore. But yeah, a lot of the times, a lot of these things, people try to diminish a lot about Alexander's accomplishments. One of them is like, yeah, the Persian Empire. I remember people saying stuff like the Persian Empire at the time was weak, like it had issues, the leadership, etc., etc. I don't know. I don't want to take anything away from Alexander the Great. Like I am loving learning more about him. Like I said, I already basically kind of knew everything about him, but I like this more in-depth look at his exploits against the Persians. And like I still think like I'm just amazed by this guy. This guy is like, I don't know, fearless, and like I mentioned before, he's like one of the Greek heroes of mythology, but in real life, he rather as well be the real life like Greek hero, right? He almost comes across like a demigod, and yeah, and we know he's real, right? Like Achilles and Heracles, on them, complete mythology, but Alexander the Great was a real dude, and it's insane everything he did in his life.
Darius had chosen to fight on open ground, where his advantage in numbers would be more telling. His soldiers had also worked hard to clear and flatten the terrain, to make it suitable for Persian war chariots. By modern estimates, the Persian army was between 50 and 80,000 strong, and made up of contingents from across the empire.
Yeah, so last video, when Darius first fought Alexander the first time, Epic History TV mentioned that despite having like an army of 100,000 strong or around there, that the area chosen, which was about like 6 miles, couldn't fully, like support an army of that size, so that probably worked for Alexander the Great's advantage. Persians fighting smaller Greek forces in more tightly knit areas. It seems to be a trend with the Persian versus the Greeks, right? Like with the 300 and now that, but you know. So yeah, I'm want to see just like now more in depth now that they seem to be getting ready, the terrain and hosting their numbers and obviously having the superior numbers, like just how Alexander is going to completely crush them. Because I guess the funniest thing of watching these Alexander the Great videos is just knowing he won every battle. So it's not like I can even pretend like, oh man, he might actually fall. It's like, no, he's got this. I just want to know how he's got this more in depth,
Infantry from Syria and Babylonia. Cavalry from Armenia, India, and Central Asia.
Yeah, I think what's really telling about the Persian army is just like how many different groups are in it. Like, the Persian Empire really was vast. Like, he had Greeks in there, like Greek mercenaries, and all these different groups of people. And, Alexander the Great so far is his force is mainly Greek, Though, as time passes, he eventually did employ Persian troops. Like, he did employ other troops, and I think adding the Persian troops actually did end up causing some, like, of a kind of a rift between him and his Macedonian, like, Greek, allies. Yeah, I think that was one of the causes of frustration that led to a famous mutiny that he actually did a video of Epic History TV, like Alexander's speech at the mutiny, which I think we might just cover.
Up to 200 scythed chariots. Even a handful of war elephants. Alexander's army was smaller and may have been outnumbered by as much as 2 to 1. He deployed his units in their usual formation. On the left flank, Thracian and Thessalian cavalry, commanded by Parmenion. In the centre, the Macedonian veterans of the phalanx, each armed with their 18-foot Sarissa pike. On the right flank, Alexander with his elite cavalry, the Companions, and his best infantry, the Hypaspists. These were the units with which Alexander planned to launch his main attack. Greek hoplites formed a second line and supported both wings, which were angled back to guard against encirclement by the Persians. The battle began when Alexander led his wing out to the right, a move that took the Persians by surprise. Could Alexander really be trying to encircle their huge army? The Persians mirrored his movement, taking troops away from their center to outflank Alexander and prevent him leaving the area they'd cleared for the Persian chariots. But Alexander's unusual maneuver was a trap to entice the Persians to weaken their center. When he saw that it had worked, he ordered his Greek cavalry to charge to keep the Persians fixed in position. A giant cavalry battle developed on the right wing. Darius, meanwhile, judging this to be the decisive moment, unleashed his chariots. But expert Agrianes javelin throwers took out horses and crews, while the Greek infantry opened lanes, allowing the chariots to pass harmlessly through. Now Alexander led his companion cavalry and parts of the Macedonian phalanx in a headlong charge straight at the weakened Persian center, fighting his way towards Darius himself. The sudden ferocity of Alexander's assault threw the Persians into panic, the center of the army broke and ran, King Darius himself leading the rout.
Yeah, that's insane. The dude just rode up to the other king, like, wanted to square up, like, he's so awesome. I'm, like, fanboying over Alexander, but, yeah, funny thing is, like, with these ancient battles, like, a lot of the battles, I think it's been said that most of the casualties are from the enemy running away. It's usually that's where the most casualties are in a battle, rather than the actual midst of the fighting. And I remember when I was looking at a video regarding how the Romans defeated the Greeks, you know, when the Republic was rising, and like often in battles it really was just trying to break the morale of the enemy until they retreated and broke, you know, their discipline and retreated, so in that retreat they could capture or kill the majority of them, which is, you know, beyond interesting. Like, man, I'm just so interested in this stuff. I just love the military exploits of ancient battles. I wonder if he's ever done a Hannibal series. For you guys who don't know, I'm a huge Hannibal Barca fan. Barca. But point is, I'm a huge Hannibal fan and his exploits against Rome. So, I don't know. If so, I'll binge all that because I love Hannibal a lot. He's like my favorite military leader in history.
But Alexander's left wing was in serious trouble. Parmenion, facing a huge onslaught by Persian cavalry, was virtually surrounded. Indian and Scythian horsemen had even ridden through a gap in the Greek line. But rather than wheeling and attacking the Greeks from behind, they'd carried straight on to loot their camp.
Oh boy!
Parmenion sent a desperate appeal to Alexander for help. The king abandoned his pursuit of Darius, regrouped, and charged the Persian right wing. It was the hardest and bloodiest fighting of the battle, claiming the lives of 60 of Alexander's companions.
Dang.
Finally, as news of Darius's flight spread across the battlefield, the last Persian horseman turned and fled. The Battle of Gaugamela was a stunning and complete victory for Alexander. According to ancient sources, he lost just a few hundred men, while the Persians lost thousands.
Insane. Completely insane.
Alexander had routed Darius's great army. And now the road to Babylon, the empire's main capital, lay open. The Macedonian king entered the great city in triumph, recognized by Persian officials as its new rightful ruler. So too at the city of Susa, where Alexander ceremonially took his seat upon the royal throne of Persia. In the Zagros Mountains, at a pass known as the Persian Gates, a courageous Persian force held up Alexander's army for a month. The Greeks eventually found a mountain path that bypassed their position, allowing them to encircle and wipe out the defenders. In early 330 BC, Alexander reached Persepolis, the empire's ceremonial capital. Alexander wanted to appear as a liberator to the Persians, as a legitimate successor to King Darius. But now he ordered Persepolis to be pillaged and burnt. Retribution for the Persian invasion of Greece and the burning of Athens' sacred temples in 480 BC.
Did you know that there's a simple combination of natural ingredients that will help you poop out pounds of old rotten waste in your colon within
Alexander now headed north into Media, where Darius had taken refuge in the royal city of Ecbatana. Alexander was determined to capture Darius, but the fugitive king fled east, in the hope of raising a new army in the provinces of Parthia, Bactria, and Sogdia. It was not to be. As Alexander closed in, the Persian king was murdered by one of his own governors, Bessus, who then proclaimed himself the empire's new ruler. Alexander gave orders for Darius to be buried in the royal tombs of Persepolis, alongside his ancestors. Then he paused to organize his vast new empire. Alexander appointed viceroys to rule the provinces on his behalf, keeping several Persians who had sworn loyalty in their posts. Then he resumed his march east, his goal to find and kill the usurper Bessus, subjugate the empire's eastern provinces, and reach the far edge of the world.
Look at how insane. This man is on another level. He's just going for it. And like, man, it's almost like just it almost like is just like it was just destined to be, you know? Like, the startling amount of speed in which he conquered and like won, just like, it's insane.
Research and artwork for this video comes from...
Alright, so that's pretty much the video. This is usually where he talks about that. But, yeah guys, I wish I had... I love these videos, but I don't feel like I have much to say because I'm just so engrossed in them, and he basically hits all the points. Like, forgive me if I don't have much to say. It's not like the Dovahadi videos where I could just pause and just talk a lot about stuff. But either way, I want to keep going. I want to push through this. I believe part 4 is the final part. So, yeah, I'm just gonna crank it out. I'm gonna finish it today. So I'm gonna jump right into that. I'll see you guys in part 4. Bye everyone.